Hello, everybody. I'm Rikki Smith. Welcome to Faith on Friday Presents. At Faith on Friday Presents, we're all about highlighting inspiring people, engaging topics, and small businesses. And while you're here, don't forget, subscribe to this YouTube channel, like our Facebook page, and follow us on Instagram. All right, y'all, this is going to be interesting because it's only for a certain group of people, and I'll let you figure it out. So, the night sweats, the mood swings, the weight gain, the hair loss, the drama of it all. Why does this happen? When does it stop? And why does it get started in the first place? What are we talking about today? Y'all, it's menopause. I know, right? But we're going to talk to somebody who's going to give us some insight, some great suggestions, and just some random information that we need. Everybody, please say hello to Tafiq Akir. Hello, Tafiq. How are you?
Hey Ricky, how are you?
I'm doing well. First of all, did I say your name correctly?
You absolutely
Woo!
did. Bravo.
Yay, taking the win, taking the win. I had to practice, so you know. Taviq,
Uh,
thank you so much for being here. This is going to be a very interesting conversation, and it's going to be more interesting because you may not have noticed, but you're not a woman.
mhm.
We'll get into that. Taviq, before we get started, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're located.
Yeah, so my name is Tafiq Akir. I have worked in health and fitness for 24 years. I've specialized in women's health for 20 years. And for the last 10 and a half years, I've specialized in menopause health and healthy aging, specifically for women as well. And I am located in Los Angeles, California.
Woo! Very nice, very nice. I've been wanting to talk to you for a while, and we talked a little bit before about how we got here, where we are, but we'll get into that later. So, menopause, women's health, and you're a guy. I
Mhm.
know that sounds very sexist and rude, and I don't mean it to be, but it is a question that I'm sure some of our viewers may have. What do you know about menopause, Tafik, and where did you get started on this?
Well, it's really funny when people ask that question because I actually started doing stuff with private clients initially. And so when I first started getting into health and fitness, like I said, over 24 years ago, no matter what gym I went to, no matter where I worked at, for whatever reason, women were just more attracted to my training style.
Mm.
And initially, it bothered me. I'm like, why don't guys want to train with me? I don't get it. You know what I mean? But
Mhm.
as I taught classes, I would take over someone else's class. They may have had 70% men in their class. In 3 months, it'd be 90% women. But not
Wow.
only that, it would be more women. So my classes were not only becoming more female, but they were growing as
Hmm.
well. So I just became known as the guy that just the women would say I would intuitively know what women wanted to do for their bodies.
Wow.
And so, as that went on, women started to ask me for private training. And I don't know if you've ever done private training, but when you train privately with someone, it becomes a personal relationship. It's almost like
Sure.
you become like a therapist as well as the coach. And I just started hearing more about these health issues that women were experiencing and things like that. And there was these light bulbs that just kept coming on in my head because I remembered my mom going through many of the same things.
Hmm.
And I was like, I'm like, my mom passed away, mind you, in 94.
Okay.
So women here in 2000 were experiencing the same health issues, and I didn't understand why. And so I
Hmm.
started learning more. And as I learned more, I started learning more about menopause. And
Hmm.
then there's a thing called metabolic health as well, that anything that happens in your body health wise, whether it's a heart issue, a stroke, or anything like that, is called a metabolic condition. And
Okay.
so that is what my specialty was before I focused on women's health, but
Hmm.
there was a correlation that I found. And I started helping women get rid of their symptoms by focusing on their metabolic health, not on the menopause itself. And so
Wow.
that's how I started just getting more clients that way. And the
Hmm.
more information I learned, the more certifications I got, it just became something that I just became really good at and I
Hmm.
understood. And I always say, I think it's because of what I saw my mom go through, and I remembered
Hmm.
her suffering and not knowing what to do and had no support except for all these medications they kept giving her, which made her more
Sure.
sick,
Mm-hmm.
actually. And even back then, they didn't even call it menopause. They called it the change. So it
Oh,
wasn't even
yeah.
something I had even heard of, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so as I'm learning these things, I'm like, all these light bulbs happening. And I'm like, if I had known what I know now, I could have
Sure.
helped my mother. And and there's no doubt in my mind that she would have survived past 52,
Oh, my
because
goodness.
of all the health issues that she had. And
Mm-hmm.
come to find out that many of the health issues were triggered by her menopause.
Oh, my
I know that
gosh.
now, but I didn't know that then. And
Sure.
so I kind of wanted to just become like the advocate that my mom never had.
Oh,
And
that's
so
so
that's
good.
how I started really focusing on the menopause itself.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though women are talking about it, I always say you still got to get educated about it, right?
Yeah.
And that's all
Mm-hmm.
I did. When people
Mm-hmm.
say, "How does a man do it?" I got educated.
Right.
That's
Pick up a
all.
book.
I got certified. Every certification that comes up too, I'll go and try a new one as well because there's
Mm-hmm.
always new information when it comes to women's health
Sure.
in general with
Mm-hmm.
research and things like that. So that's
Yeah.
really how I became what I'm
Yeah.
now known as Mr. Menopause, actually.
Mr. Menopause. I like that so much. You said so many things in there. One of the things that really stuck out to me is that we need to get educated about menopause. Now, a lot of us as women, we just naturally assume that, well, it is what it is. You're just going to have to go through it and suck it up and go through it. Is that necessarily true?
It's not true because, and part of that again goes back to the lack of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big issue in the medical field. 60 some percent of gynecologists only get a 1 hour lecture on menopause.
Wow.
20% said they got nothing on menopause. So your
Mm-hmm.
doctors aren't even educated properly in menopause. So in order for the doctor to get educated, they have to go through a certification process, just
Mm-hmm.
like the one that I did, in order
Wow.
to become
Mm-hmm.
menopause specialists in their field.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a site here in the US called the Menopause Society, which I'm also a member of, but they
Okay.
actually have a whole like catalog of doctors who are certified in
Mm-hmm.
menopause all over the country. So you can go to their directory, it's completely free. Look up menopause in your area and find a
Mm-hmm.
doctor that specializes in menopause. And don't just assume that your doctor has the knowledge because
Mm-hmm.
many doctors don't. And
Right.
60% of gynecologists say that they won't even discuss menopause with their clients because they don't feel comfortable with the lack of education that they have in it.
Wow. So then, if your doctor's not comfortable talking to you about it, you're not comfortable with it because you don't know what it is half the time anyway. What in the world is going on? So, Tafiq, with something going on like that, what are, in your experiences, what are some of the misconceptions that women in general and people have about menopause?
Well, one of the biggest ones that I always say, and even like when you said it at the top of the show, you said
Mhm.
that only a few people understand or need to know about. Well, I
Mhm.
think that's one of the biggest misnomers. Everyone thinks it's a woman's health issue. It
Right.
is a woman's life issue. It
Woo!
impacts her physically, mentally, and emotionally. So that
Mm-hmm.
means it's going to affect her home life, her work life, and her social life.
Mm.
Therefore, it's going to impact those people in her life as well. So they need to be educated just as much as she is, because
Wow.
being able to have conversations at work. If
Mm-hmm.
someone's having mood swings or they're irritable and they don't even know why they're irritable, and you
Mm-hmm.
have an interaction with someone at work, if that work person doesn't know that you're experiencing menopause and knows the background of menopause, they
Mm-hmm.
may be offended. But if they know that information, they can have more empathy, they can be more supportive, and it makes the work culture better. Same with
Sure.
husbands. I don't know how many husbands say that they thought that their wives stopped loving them, not only
Oh.
because of the issues that they've had, but because
Mm-hmm.
like the lack of sex. And I,
Yeah.
and I have to explain to men, it's because it hurts. She may not be comfortable
Wow.
telling you that it hurts, but vaginal dryness, irritation in the vaginal area is a
Mm-hmm.
symptom of menopause because you're losing estrogen. Estrogen is what provides that lubrication in your
Mm-hmm.
vaginal area. So when that's gone, it's painful. So a lot of women say it feels like sandpaper.
Oh
And
my
so
gosh.
the husband doesn't know this, and he just thinks that she's pushing him away. She's feel embarrassed that it's happened, so she's not talking to him. One of my programs,
Wow.
I always say to the women, I'm like, talk talk to your husbands, and they all are like nervous about it. And I'm like,
Sure.
but my thought process is you've had children with this man. What do you mean you can't talk to him about menopause? You
That
know
is
what I
so
mean? It's
interesting.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
just talk, because half of the time I hear women say men don't want to know, men wouldn't understand. Well,
Hmm.
number one, I always say this: if you keep telling men they won't understand, they're not going to try. That's just how
Well,
men are. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
giving away the
They
man
just
secrets,
throw the
Tafiq.
towel in. I mean, you
Right.
know this. They'll just, because a lot of men don't like that type of a confrontation with that.
Sure.
And
Hmm.
so but if they're included in the conversation, like there's so
Hmm.
many of these menopause talks, it's rooms full of women. But
Yeah.
in the workplace, you need male support if your boss is a male, if HR is men, because
Hmm.
they're the ones that can help bring menopause policies into the workplace to help your days better, right?
Oh my
So they
gosh.
need to know and understand. Your husband, your kids can actually be more sympathetic and empathetic if they understand. There was a woman that was interviewed with her family, and her
Mhm.
kids thought she was going crazy because they
Sure.
didn't know, right?
Yeah.
But if there's open communication, but again, if you don't know what you're communicating about, how
Yeah.
can you
How can
communicate?
you
So you
communicate?
have to be educated, at least the basics. And that's what I was the
Hmm.
basics: understanding symptoms, understanding that hot flashes, mood swings, and night sweats are 3 of 80 symptoms.
I'm sorry, you said 3 of 80.
80. Yes.
80?
Now, on record,
Oh.
there they say that there's up to 60. But
Hmm.
as I said, I've been researching this for 11 years. I
Right.
personally found up to 80. I'm actually putting out a book at the end of the year called
Hmm.
The 80 Symptoms of Menopause, and outlining how they all affect the body. So
Hmm.
if you know this information, you're not only are you able to get the proper support, but you're also able to be better prepared. Like,
Right.
did you know there's three steps of menopause?
I
Perimenopause,
I hear the
menopause, and
people,
postmenopause.
all I hear right now are people getting out pens and paper because you said there were 80 symptoms. I, and I am just so 80 symptoms plus 3 stages of menopause. I am learning more about menopause than I probably was ever going to use. But here's my question. What then are some of the symptoms that don't traditionally get the same airtime as the big three, if you will?
One that I said was vaginal dryness,
Yeah.
consistent urinary tract infections, things like that after 40, things like
Mhm.
that happen. Frozen shoulder.
I'm sorry,
Um,
frozen shoulder?
Frozen shoulder. It's a condition that a lot of women over 40 experience, and
Uh-huh.
it's where your shoulder locks up, and it's painful to lift your arm even higher than this. And it's usually
Wow.
from some kind of a sports injury, but
Hmm.
most of these women aren't playing sports, right? But it's because your joint health changes as well during menopause.
Sure, sure.
Teeth change during menopause, your vocal cords change
Oh
during
my
menopause. It's because it's a
Wow.
hormone shift.
Yeah.
Estrogen, estrogen works with every single hormone in your body. So think of this. I use this analogy
Oh my
sometimes
goodness.
because I think that it makes sense to some people. Think
Mm-hmm.
about if you have a group of girlfriends and you all go out. There's always that one girlfriend who's like the mama, right? She makes
Mm-hmm.
sure everyone's taken care of, right? She makes sure that everyone's set up. Now imagine you guys are like this for years and years, and then all of a sudden mama's gone.
Mm.
Who's
Right.
keeping the rest of the girls together? Right?
Yeah.
Some
Wow.
may try and help this one out or that one out. Think of that. Like if something
Mm.
goes wrong with your liver, the kidneys kick in and help out. So it's
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like that. It's like
Wow.
other parts of your body try to help out when that estrogen is gone. And this
Mm-hmm.
is why there's so many different symptoms. Because if you go into menopause with a thyroid issue, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
actually I have an example of this. So you go into menopause with a thyroid issue. When
Okay.
estrogen is gone, there is a high probability that that thyroid issue is going to get worse, or it may change because you're not
Wow.
having the support from estrogen. I had
Mm-hmm.
a woman come to me. She says, my doctor says that he wants to put me on HRT. I'm afraid of it. So I want to try something else first. So it
Mm-hmm.
goes back to that metabolic conditioning thing. I always start with metabolic health with anyone I start with. I don't care what
Mm-hmm.
condition you come to me with. So I
Mm-hmm.
looked at her symptoms, and she told me, she said, I have hyperthyroidism. I'm on medication for it. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
by the way, she was having hot flashes every 30 minutes.
Whoo, goodness, she was about to catch fire. Was
Yes. And so I looked at her symptoms and
wow.
I'm like, well, your symptoms don't show hyperthyroidism. It
Hmm.
shows more hypo from what I'm seeing. And I'm like, your adrenals are a little off, which is our stress hormone. So
Hmm.
I gave her a program to help manage her stress and things like that. She started having more energy. And I recommended that she go back to her doctor to have her thyroid checked.
Sure.
Sure enough, her thyroid had changed from hyper to hypo. And guess what a
Wow.
side effect of hypothyroidism is?
Don't even
Hot
say hot
flash.
flashes. My
Yes.
goodness.
They changed her
Wow.
medication. She went from 30 hot flashes every 30, hot flashes every 30 minutes to no hot
Hmm.
flashes at all without
Wow.
having to go on HRT.
Oh
Right?
my goodness.
So, and again, it goes back. Her doctor wasn't a menopause specialized doctor.
Sure.
So all he knew was she had gone 12 months without, that's another thing. Menopause is
Yeah.
12 months without a period. She had
Hmm.
gone 12 months without a period. She was having problems getting out of bed. She had anxiety. So she had all the things associated with menopause, but sometimes the solution isn't that direct. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because I know
Yeah.
many women who get on HRT and still have hot flashes, right? And
Woo,
to me,
goodness.
that says that means to me something else is going on. We need to
Hmm.
look at what else is going on. And that's where the missing pieces are. People think medication is the solution for everything. But
Sure.
when you have the information and the knowledge, a lot of these things can be fixed with proper nutrition, better exercise, better self-care as it relates to
Hmm.
stress management and just taking care of yourself. I
Oh
say
my
when you're
gosh.
going through menopause, it's your prerogative to say no to everything
Hmm.
because you need to focus on you, right?
I
You
like
need to focus
that.
on you. And that's what a lot of women, and think about it, it's the perfect time too. Your kids are getting out of the house, you're becoming empty nesters typically
Hmm.
around this time. So you
Sure.
can start to focus on you because so many women focus on everyone else, whether it's work, caregiving, kids, or
Yeah.
husband, that they put themselves last. And they think that menopause is this thing that they have to just be stoic and suffer through. And I'm here to tell
Yeah.
you, you do not. And
Oh
there,
my
there are
gosh.
things that you can do if you know that they're
Yeah.
available. And
I
that's the
mean,
problem. Many people don't know.
and we don't. And Tafiq, you are setting so many women free. They are listening to this right now. They're like, oh my God, how does he know? Who pulled back the curtain and let him in? And we are so glad that you're here. So, with all of the information that's out there, everything that you've studied and been certified on, and some of the case studies that you did, I would say, what are a few things that women can do right now besides checking your doctor? I mean, not checking on him, but checking them
Mhm.
on this. But what are some things that we can do going forward to find out, to learn more, to even just to speak with our physicians? What can we do now?
I would say the first thing to do is to just ask your doctor to get a metabolic panel. And what the metabolic panel will do is it will check to see what vitamins levels may be off because a lot of it could be you're not getting enough vitamin D, calcium, what's the other magnesium, omega
Hmm.
3s. Those are the four major things that you should include in your diet during menopause. The calcium and the vitamin D are primarily also because of the fact that you get bone loss because of the
Hmm.
loss of estrogen. A lot of women get osteoporosis after menopause, right?
Wow.
And so then that's bone loss when women get the hunched over look and all that. So you want to
Right.
prevent that, right? So you do
Hmm.
that by making sure you have the right supplementation. A lot of women went through my program and they looked at the vitamins, they went and got their test, they were deficient in all of them. And
Wow.
most women are deficient in vitamin D, which is,
Hmm.
something that you can easily get, but you need to check to see those levels. And once you start filling in those nutrition gaps, I
Hmm.
would say the body is an amazing thing.
Yeah.
Your body will repair itself if you give it what it needs to repair. Every
Hmm.
7 years, think of this, every 7 years, every cell in your body is brand new.
Oh my goodness.
It regenerates itself brand new. Now,
Wow.
I always say this, but how those cells regenerate depends on what you do to your body in order to regenerate good cells or
Hmm.
bad cells,
Wow.
right? How you're
Man.
taking care of your body is that's
Hmm.
what healthy aging is all about. But what
Yeah.
do we do when we age? Think about it. We go baby to toddler. We eat the same food, different food, different activity.
Hmm.
Toddler to teenager, different. Teenager to young adult, different. But when we go from young adult to middle age, what does everybody want to do? They want to do
Yeah.
everything they did when they were younger. They
That's
want to
so
repeat
true.
everything. They don't want to change the way their body is changing.
Yeah.
Your body is telling you what it needs. If you're stressed out, your body is telling you you need to be less stressed out. You need to do
Hmm.
things to de-stress, right?
Yeah.
If you got aches and pains in your bones, your body is telling you stop going to CrossFit. Stop doing all these jumps and boxing. Your 52-year-old muscles shouldn't be doing the same thing your 25-year-old muscles.
Hilarious.
So
Yeah.
you have to listen to but everybody wants to fight the aging process. And when
Sure.
you fight things, what happens? There's
Yeah.
tension, there's resistance, there's a breakdown. But when you work with things, there's collaboration, there's rejuvenation, there's moving forward. And that's what
Wow.
you should be doing for your body as well. Your body it can repair itself if you do what it needs it to.
Oh my gosh, there's so much information here. I've already gotten some stuff that I know I need to be doing right now. So, Tafiq, if somebody wanted to reach out to you to find out more about you and what you offer, or even just finish this conversation, where's the best place for them to find you?
The best place is my website. It's mrmenopause.com. That's mrmenopause.com.
Okay, and what will they find out there?
So, actually, one of the great things, I have a tool on there called the Menopause Awareness Assessment. It's a 20-second assessment. It's completely free, and it'll tell you where you are on the spectrum of your menopause awareness. And it also gives you options for different tools that I provide, whether maybe you have really good awareness, but maybe
Mhm.
you need assistance with putting together your menopause care plan. So it'll direct you there. Maybe you need the basic information and it'll direct you to my Menopause Made Simple experience, which is a self-paced program where you
Mhm.
just learn the basics of menopause. And then you
Wow.
can also be transferred to just a free webinar just to get more information, kind of what we're doing here, but just more
Mm-hmm.
detail.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So much information. Don't worry, everybody. If you did not get that information, everything is going to be in the description below. Reach out, call him, do the 20-second thing. I know I'm going to. And while you're out there, don't forget, subscribe to our YouTube channel, share this with your network, like our Facebook page, and follow us on Instagram. Tafiq, my friend, before I let you go, we're going to play a little game.
Okay.
All right. So this game is so simple. It's called What's Your Favorite? I'm going to ask you a couple of questions and you just tell me what your favorite thing is. Are you
Okay.
ready to play, sir?
Yes, I am.
All right, let's do this. All right. What is your favorite childhood memory?
My favorite childhood memory was I got this bike I wanted. It had springs on it, and my entire family had come into the state for my birthday party. But I left the party and rode my bike around the block for like hours and hours by myself,
Oh,
and
I
that was
love
one
it.
of my favorite memories as a kid.
That's so great. What is your favorite kitchen gadget?
Is the not the big food processor, but the mini one, the mini food processor where you can just click it yourself and blend
Oh,
things.
yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
easy to chop things up. I make
Mm-hmm.
hummus in it all the time. It's super easy.
Oh, I like that. What is your favorite advice that you've ever given?
My favorite advice, I'm going to bring it back to the menopause thing. I always say when you know better, you can do better. And as it relates to menopause, you can live better.
Oh my goodness. What is the favorite activity that you've never done?
That I have never done, I've never skied. I've wanted to ski, but now I'm afraid of it because of my age. I'm afraid of my brakes break something.
Are
But
you talking?
I've always, when I was little, I just thought it was the coolest thing, and I always wanted to ski,
So snow ski or water ski?
snow ski.
Snow
No,
ski.
I can't
Okay.
swim, so I drown. So
There's so many problems here to dig into. We're not going to get started. And finally, Tafiq, what would you tell your 13-year-old self right now?
um, believing yourself sooner.
Wow, that's huge. That
It's a life changer.
that it would be life changing. Tafiq, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been absolutely incredible.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. And I'm so glad we finally made this happen. Thank you.
Me too. Okay, everybody, that's it for this week. But thank you all so much for watching because truly without you, this wouldn't be anything. We'll see you all next week with more Faith on Friday Presents.